In March 1986, two young lovers left their home for a romantic weekend. They never returned. Their families searched for them everywhere. The police did everything they could to find them, but it was as if the earth had swallowed them whole. Days, weeks, and months went by. There wasn't a single clue as to where they were. The case went cold. Years passed, and the families lost hope. But in 2002, after 16 years of silence, the Texas desert revealed a terrible secret it had been keeping all that time. What was discovered that day changed everything that was known about the disappearance. The truth was so horrifying it left investigators speechless. What had really happened to those two people was much worse than any nightmare. This is the true story of one of the most brutal crimes ever committed in the state of Texas. On March 18, 1986, at the Austin Police Department in Texas, a middle-aged woman arrived visibly distressed to report the disappearance of two people. Close to her, Carmen Vasquez filed a formal report for the disappearance of her sister Melanie Torres, 26, and her brother-in-law Christian Torres, 28. The case was assigned to Detective Ray Herrera, a veteran investigator with 15 years of experience. In similar cases, the couple had left San Antonio on Friday, March 14th, heading to a rural area in Texas for a recreational weekend. The last contact was a phone call from Melanie on Saturday morning, in which she mentioned being in a desert area near the New Mexico border. The Torres couple were well known in their Hispanic community for embracing the cowboy lifestyle. At the time of their departure, Christian was wearing a wide-brimmed white cowboy hat, a light denim button-up shirt with pearl buttons, and a leather belt with a large metal buckle. Melanie wore a white cowboy hat, a fitted white shirt, and blue denim jeans. They were driving a navy blue 1982 Ford Bronco with license plate DXton Bracero 29. The initial investigation revealed the couple had withdrawn $800 in cash before their trip, an unusual amount considering their normal spending habits. Phone records confirmed Melanie's call from a public phone on State Highway 285, APPROXIMATELY 180 miles west of San Antonio. The Torres couple had no history of marital, financial, or legal issues. Both had regular jobs, Christian as an auto mechanic and Melanie as an administrative assistant. Their family described the trip as a celebration of their second wedding anniversary. Routine checks with hospitals, morgues, and police stations within a 300-mile radius yielded no results. Credit card records showed their last transaction occurred Friday afternoon at a gas station in Junction, Texas. Between March 20th and 25th, 1986, Detective Herrera expanded the search westward into Texas, focusing on desert areas and state parks often visited by tourists. The area Melanie described in her last call matched several locations in Terrell and Brozer counties. A Texaco gas station employee in Junction recalled serving a couple matching the Torres description. A witness, Miguel Contreras, confirmed. They had asked about routes to remote camping spots and purchased basic supplies, including water, canned food, and an extra flashlight. Investigators located the guest register of a motel in Sanderson, where the Torres had booked a room for Friday night. The manager, Robert Hayes, confirmed the couple arrived around 8 p.m., but did not stay overnight. Their belongings were still in the room when housekeeping arrived Saturday morning. Among the items left behind were a change of clothes, personal hygiene products, and a partially used camera. Developing the film revealed travel photos, including desert landscapes and shots of the couple posing near unidentified rock formations. One particular photo caught investigators' attention. Melanie was pointing toward an area of dunes with sparse vegetation. In the background, a vehicle that didn't match the couple's Bronco was partially visible. Photo analysis suggested the image was taken in the final hours of daylight Friday. Motel records showed the Torres received a phone call around 9:30 p.m. Friday. The night operator recalled the call, lasting about 10 minutes, and seeing the couple leave the property in a rush shortly afterward. Between March 26th and April 5th, 1986, the Border Patrol joined the search in case the Torres had attempted to cross into Mexico. Helicopters and ground teams combed hundreds of square miles of desert, but found no sign of the couple or their vehicle. A significant discovery occurred on March 30th when a local rancher, Eduardo Salinas, reported finding scattered clothing on his property approximately 15 miles south of Sanderson. Among the items were fragments of a woman's white shirt with bloodstains and buttons matching Melanie's clothing. Preliminary forensic analysis of the clothing showed tear patterns consistent with a violent struggle. The blood was classified as O positive, matching Melanie's blood type according to her family's medical records. In the same area, investigators found tire tracks that did not match the Torres Bronco. Plaster molds revealed a tread pattern, consistent with a pickup truck, possibly a Ford or Chevrolet model from 1980 to 1985. Tracks indicated the vehicle had remained parked for an extended period. The search for the Bronco extended into canyons, dry creek beds, and hard-to-reach areas. A specialized tracking team found vehicle marks leading toward a zone of natural quicksand known locally as Las Arenas, considered dangerous by local residents. Historical records showed the area had been the site of multiple accidents in past decades. The quicksand formed through the interaction of fine sand deposits with underground water currents, creating natural traps capable of engulfing entire vehicles. During the first half of April 1986, specifically between April 6th and 15th, the investigation took a turn when Maria Elena Gutierrez, a restaurant employee in Sanderson, contacted police with information about events on the night of March 14th. Gutierrez had been working the night shift when she witnessed a confrontation in the parking lot between a couple matching the Torres description and two unidentified men. According to her statement, around 10 p.m., she heard raised voices and cries for help. When she went to investigate, she saw a young woman being forced into a pickup truck while a man tried to intervene. The attackers, described as white men in their 40s, violently subdued the man before driving off with both victims. Gutierrez had noted part of the pickup's license plate are X7 followed by numbers she couldn't clearly recall. She hadn't reported the incident earlier due to fear over her immigration status, but the prolonged disappearance of the couple motivated her to come forward. Investigators cross-checked vehicle records with matching plates in Texas and neighboring states. The search yielded 23 possible vehicles, each requiring individual verification of ownership and alibis for the relevant date. One name stood out during this process: Russell Wayne Kowalski, owner of a 1983 Ford pickup with plates RX7489. Kowalski, 42, had a criminal record including sexual assault and kidnapping. Records showed he was on probation in March 1986. Background checks revealed Kowalski frequently traveled through West Texas for mineral prospecting activities. His registered address was a trailer on the outskirts of Odessa, but neighbors reported he had been absent for several weeks in March. Between April 16th and 25th, 1986, investigators located Russell Kowalski at a temporary camp near Big Bend. During initial questioning, Kowalski denied any knowledge of the Torres' disappearance, but became extremely nervous when specific dates were mentioned. Forensic analysis of Kowalski's pickup revealed significant physical evidence in the bed of the vehicle. Textile fibers matching the victim's clothing were found. Blood tests detected traces of type O positive blood on the metal floor, consistent with Melanie's blood type. Kowalski's fuel records showed purchases at gas stations in Sanderson and Junction on March 14th and 15th. The transaction times matched the timeline established for the Torres movements. During a second interrogation, Kowalski admitted to being in Sanderson on the night of March 14th, but claimed it was to meet with contacts related to prospecting. He couldn't provide names or verifiable details about these supposed meetings. The analysis of tools found in Kowalski's possession included shovels, ropes, and excavation materials. Several tools showed traces of sand and sediment consistent with the geological composition of the Quicksand area. Investigators also discovered that Kowalski had been associated with Byrne McCready, 38, another man with a similar criminal background. McCready had disappeared from his residence in Pecos immediately after March 15 and could not be located. During the last week of April and the first days of May 1986, faced with physical evidence and witness testimony, Kowalski requested to speak with investigators without a lawyer present. During an 8-hour interrogation session, he provided a partial account of the events that led to the Torres disappearance. Kowalski admitted that he and McCready had approached the couple in the parking lot of the Sanderson restaurant. According to his testimony, their original intention was to steal the Torres' vehicle and belongings, but the situation escalated when Melanie tried to scream for help. His confession revealed that the Torres were taken against their will to the remote Quicksand area. Kowalski described how McCready developed a sexual obsession with Melanie during the drive, which led to the decision to hold both victims captive temporarily. According to Kowalski's testimony, over the next 24 hours, McCready sexually assaulted Melanie repeatedly while Christian was restrained and threatened. The details matched physical evidence found on the recovered clothing. Kowalski claimed that the situation escalated when Christian partially freed himself and attempted to protect his wife. During the struggle, McCready fatally struck Christian with an excavation tool. Melanie was later killed to eliminate witnesses. The confession included details about the attempt to conceal the bodies using the area's natural quicksand. Kowalski described how they used the weight of the Bronco to push the bodies deeper into the liquid sand, followed by the vehicle sinking itself. During the first 3 weeks of May 1986, guided by Kowalski's confession, investigators intensified the search for Byrne McCready. Records indicated that McCready had crossed into Mexico immediately after the events, using falsified documents to avoid detection. International cooperation with Mexican authorities led to the identification of McCready in a small town near Chihuahua. However, when Mexican agents arrived to execute the arrest warrant, they found that McCready had died under violent circumstances. Mexican police reports indicated McCready had been found in his hotel room with multiple stab wounds. Local authorities classified the death as a homicide linked to drug-related activity, although no specific suspects were identified. McCready's death significantly complicated the investigation, removing the possibility of fully corroborating Kowalski's account. Investigators proceeded with building the case against Kowalski, relying on physical evidence and his partial confession. Legal preparations included charges of kidnapping, sexual assault, double homicide, and evidence concealment. A prosecution determined there was sufficient evidence to go to trial, though the absence of the bodies posed procedural challenges. The victims' families were informed of the case developments. News of the sexual crimes against Melanie caused additional trauma, requiring professional psychological support for the relatives. Russell Kowalski's trial began in September 1986 at the Terrell County Courthouse and lasted until February 1987. The prosecution, led by District Attorney James Morrison, presented a case based on physical evidence, witness testimonies, and the defendant's partial confession. Key testimony came from Maria Elena Gutierrez, who positively identified Kowalski as one of the men seen in the restaurant parking lot. Her detailed account of the events added credibility to the prosecution's case. Forensic evidence included textile fiber analysis, blood samples, and soil analysis from Kowalski's tools. Experts confirmed direct connections between the accused and the victims through the transfer of physical material. The defense, led by public defender Robert Chun, attempted to discredit Kowalski's confession, arguing police coercion and a deteriorated mental state. He also questioned the absence of the bodies as proof that Torres might still be alive. During Kowalski's testimony, he partially retracted his previous confession, claiming he had exaggerated his involvement to protect McGrady. However, the specific details he had earlier provided about the location and methods used undermined the credibility of his retraction. The jury deliberated for 3 days before returning a verdict of guilty on all charges. The sentence included 2 life sentences without the possibility of parole for the murders, along with additional terms for kidnapping and sexual assault. After the 1987 trial, the Torres case was officially classified as resolved from a legal perspective, though the bodies were never recovered. Over the next 15 years, until 2002, the families held on to hope that the remains would eventually be found to bring final closure. Kowalski was transferred to the Hansville unit, where he served his sentence without major incidents. In the following years, he occasionally provided additional information about the location of the remains, but these leads never resulted in successful discoveries. Advances in forensic technology during the 1990s renewed hopes that more evidence could be processed. However, the original samples had been exhausted during the initial trial, limiting the potential for new analysis. The Quicksand area, where the bodies were allegedly hidden, underwent significant geological changes in the years that followed. Heavy rains and erosion substantially altered the topography of the area. Sporadic searches by family members and volunteers continued throughout the 1990s, but the vastness of the area and its dangerous conditions limited their effectiveness. Authorities discouraged such searches due to safety risks. In 1995, Kowalski died in prison from complications related to cancer. His death eliminated the last direct source of information about the precise location of the Torres remains. On June 23, 2002, a group of German tourists, the Hoffmans, exploring the desert area near Big Bend, noticed anomalous structures protruding from an area of sand that had been exposed by recent erosion. The torrential spring rains of 2002 had significantly altered the local landscape. Klaus Hoffmann, an amateur geologist, immediately recognized that the objects were not natural formations. Closer inspection revealed what appeared to be metal, components of a vehicle partially buried in hardened sediment. The Hoffmans immediately contacted local authorities. Sheriff David Gonzalez of Brewster County arrived at the site and confirmed that the location roughly matched the area where Kowalski had claimed to have hidden evidence. The preliminary excavation revealed the complete structure of a Ford Bronco, remarkably well preserved due to the anaerobic conditions of the sediment. The DXT429 license plates immediately confirmed that it was the Torres vehicle. Inside the vehicle, investigators found human remains of 2 individuals in the driver and passenger seats. The unique preservation conditions had maintained elements of clothing and personal items, including the couple's signature cowboy hats. Anthropological analysis confirmed that the remains belonged to a man and a woman of approximately the same ages as Christian and Melanie Torres. Positive identification was established through dental records preserved from the original 1986 investigation. Between July and September 2002, advanced forensic technology enabled analyses that had been impossible during the original investigation. A detailed examination of the remains provided further evidence regarding the circumstances of their deaths. Trauma analysis confirmed cranial injuries on both victims consistent with blunt force trauma. Fractures in Christian's skull indicated multiple impacts, corroborating Kowalski's testimony about violence during the final struggle. Melanie's remains showed evidence of additional trauma, consistent with violent sexual assault, validating the most disturbing claims in Kowalski's confession. The findings provided scientific confirmation of the most heinous aspects of the case. Personal items recovered from the vehicle included Christian's distinctive metal belt buckle, Melanie's jewelry, and a camera. The analysis of the film in the camera, preserved by sediment conditions, revealed final images taken during the captivity. These photographs, apparently taken by the perpetrators, documented aspects of the crime that had not been revealed during the original trial. The images provided graphic evidence of the victims' suffering in their final hours. The temporal analysis of decomposition and preservation confirmed that the deaths had occurred during the established time frame in March 1986. Geological data explained how the quicksand had acted as a natural preservative, keeping the remains intact for 16 years. Beginning in October 2002, the recovery of the remains finally allowed the Torres families to hold proper funeral services. The funerals held in San Antonio drew significant attention from the media and the local Hispanic community. The case was officially closed with the confirmation of the deaths and the posthumous validation of Kowalski's conviction. Although the primary perpetrator had died in prison, the families expressed satisfaction that the full truth had finally been established. The additional forensic findings were incorporated into the official case file, providing a complete record of the crimes for future legal and academic reference. The case became a reference study for investigations of missing persons in desert environments. The area where the remains were found was marked with a modest memorial honoring the memory of Christian and Melanie Torres. The memorial serves as a reminder of the vulnerability of travelers in remote areas and the importance of safety precautions. The impact of the case extended beyond the directly affected families, influencing tourist safety policies in West Texas. Authorities implemented better communication and tracking systems for visitors in remote areas. The final resolution of the case, after 16 years, demonstrated the importance of persistence in criminal investigations and the benefits of technological advancements in forensic science. Justice, though delayed, was finally served for Christian and Melanie Torres, whose lives were tragically cut short during what should have been a romantic celebration of their mutual love. Chatkitai Sor.